the channel. My name is Seth. You're watching Mind Your Biz, and this is the Mind Your Biz live stream. So Mind Your Biz live, where we go over all the markets. I realize I've got maybe redundant signage. No, I don't. I'm still setting up OBS on this new laptop, trying to get things kind of arranged. You may notice I've been talking about it for a while that I need to get things set up for mobile broadcast. And all right, I think that we are back. Just double checking. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can definitely see and hear me. I had to reconnect there. Looks like we got a healthy stream connection, doing really well there. See Gallo Salome and Kevin Hawthorne in the chat, guys. Thanks for saying hello in the chat there. Kind of an odd time for me to go live, but have already touched base with the family, done the chores for the weekend, and I'm ready to connect to you guys. Talk about these markets. Gallo says that we are good. Appreciate that. Thank you so much for hitting that thumbs up and sharing this video while we're live, and of course making a comment while we're live. Everything that you do in that regard helps this channel to be visible by YouTube and helps us to be able to produce more content, and especially the guides that I'm very interested in producing. You may see behind me got the giant lock right there. That's part of the studio setup right there. Is that I've got the little automatic. See that scroll? It recenters my face right there. This is going to be a lot simpler moving forward, guys. So thanks for bearing with me as I make some changes to the studio. Without further ado, your chat is on screen. Do be on your best behavior. But we've got a Fear and Greed Index score of 26. How does that affect us? Well, in some ways you might say not really at all. We've already been living in kind of a state of fear, you might say, as far as markets go. Going to have another score coming out in about the next 2 hours, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. Yesterday was fear, score of 26. Today is fear, score of 26. If anything, we may be seeing perhaps some mixed sentiment. I don't think a massive wild swing at all, because last week was 27, last month was 24, with a kind of breakout into neutrality for a short time. You've heard me talk about that as something of a counter indicator. And now, do I have to red screen you? Yes, I do. I have to red screen you when I make a comment like that, because none of what I talk about on this show is intended as legal, financial, business, or investing advice. You got to do your own research. That's the bottom line. I will try to offer you helpful nuggets like don't buy GPUs just because you see people on YouTube buying GPUs. Sometimes you see people on YouTube buying GPUs because they are content creators. They're in the business of creating content. Whether they look like full-time miners or not, we've seen this in multiple cycles before, where some people, may be convenient for them at that time, or because they have some supplemental or outside income stream that funds their mining efforts. And as far as GPU mining and hard drive mining and SSD mining, I've tried to keep it very real with you and just told you straight up when I thought it was the right time to stop buying equipment, but never that you absolutely should buy equipment. I've done my best to avoid ever telling you should buy this thing or you should buy that thing, but just tell you like, hey, I think there's some profit here, and then you do the rest of the research on your own, including some of the sponsored reviews, guys. When I do those sponsored reviews, I try to just tell you straight up that they're sponsored, and then try to ask you to do your own research in that regard too. But when we look at these markets and we see that people are fearful, and I tell you, oh, that's a counter indicator. I just mean to say that, when people are in neutrality, there's not much to react against, but when people are fearful, there's plenty to react against. And when people are greedy, there's plenty to react against or to respond to, right? When the market zigs, we want to zag. Generally speaking, this is just kind of a strategy that some people look at. That, for example, is how I used like my knuckle dragging logic to just see, okay, well, the most popular channels are encouraging you to go buy overpriced hard drives. Like they're telling you in their videos, you should do this. And I realized, well, Google Trends is my friend, to kind of put a new spin on a familiar saying that's used elsewhere in the space. Google Trends is my friend. If everybody else is saying you have to go buy hard drives that are overpriced using my affiliate links, then I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to say, let me dig into this and try to use sort of like put on my bearish goggles and figure out, does it make sense to speak in opposition to this trend? When everybody else was telling you, hey, you should absolutely go all in on Polkadot because that's where all the development is really going to happen, I looked at it more closely and realized that's a promise chain. Anybody who's saying Polkadot or Cardano or Ergo, which I know is still very popular, I just took the most simple game theory and logic and then decided I'm going to go the opposite direction and try to look at other things. When the market zigs, we want to zag. that's been the kind of core logic that I've used, the core guiding logic that I've used in order to come up with those ideas. But is it advice? Is it really advice even when the other channels say, hey, I'm doing this stuff and I really think that there's profit here? I don't think that most of these guys are actually trying to give you advice. It does come across that way though when there are affiliate links in their description, and they're also talking to you about the same thing. So yeah, it's kind of weird, especially when there are really big numbers on the channel, right? It's like, oh well, I don't monetize. You sure? You sure you don't monetize? Because otherwise you wouldn't do this for free all the time. Gotta have a job. Anyway, I'm on a tangent, but that's why you guys came here, surely. All right, jump back out. You guys, your chat is on screen. Do try to be on your. And it looks like we are reconnected. Guys, I'm having intermittent connection issues, which is crazy. Yeah, some goblin loser puts the little buffering symbol. I'm feeling it too, man. I'm so sorry about that. I'm double checking to make sure that my connections are all solid. You guys, believe it or not, I'm actually using a hardwired connection. I'm not even on Wi-Fi. I'm legit plugged directly into the router. I did do a little bit of network configuration, so I'm rearranging stuff on my local network, but I do have a gigabit internet plan. I do get, like, I did a speed test right before I went live, and man, that's killing me. Thanks for being patient, guys. I appreciate that. To kind of drone on, I see Brandon 10X in the chat. That guy's a great gem hunter. He's found some phenomenal stuff that, frankly, if we were only focused on mining, we wouldn't be able to see some of the opportunities like that. So pretty cool. Gallo said something about a tweet or threatening to sue for exposing some truths. I don't know about that. I really don't. I don't know about threatening to sue. What I do know is that when profits start to go down for certain people's business models, they get antsy, and it makes them do desperate things. So hopefully everybody keeps their head. Hopefully everybody stays cool and doesn't act weird. So yeah, most important thing is, guys, in my mind, when I see people moving one direction, I try to move the other direction. Too many people moving in a certain direction, I try to go the other way. Brandon 10X, you're the best gem finder, mate. 1000X on a meme coin, legend. Hey, I appreciate you saying that, man. It's always about timing, right? That's the thing about finding gems, it's about timing. And it's like having any cryptos, right? I always wish I had more cryptos, and I always wish I got in earlier, right? With a heavier position. We'll see what happens next cycle around. But yeah, guys, let me jump out of the way, show you our fear and greed index. Again, this is what I've been talking about the whole time. Basically, we just want to make sure that we're not falling prey to this, but we are just using it as the counter indicator that I think it should be. So when people are fearful, we're going to make our plans. And when people are greedy, we are going to pump the brakes. But score 26, you know what to do. Here's the Bitcoin chart right now. As you can tell, I'm literally still on a free trial, not even on the 30-day free trial with the full membership. I'm literally using the free tools over at tradingview.com. I earn nothing by you trying out the free version. So me just saying it, it's kind of a standard. You go to any of the exchanges out there that offer you the enhanced toolkits, and they're just licensing these tools from TradingView. So this is the standard here. But I'm using that to draw these ranges. Let me zoom out just a little bit, right? Another funny trope from the crypto scene. When in doubt, zoom out. Well, here we are zoomed way out. You can see these ranges. Yeah, green is my sort of preferred DCA range. Yellow, depending on how you drive, either means go faster or it means hit the brakes. So you might not feel comfortable DCAing in that territory. I wanted to see roughly what kind of history we could build here in the green area before I started to get comfortable redrawing these chopsticks. And then, of course, staying zoomed out, red means stop. In my opinion, it just always means stop. And the dollar cost averaging in this range was kind of like, ooh, that was rough going for people who were throwing their perfectly hard-earned U.S. dollars and fiat money at Bitcoin at this time. And then what's more red than red? We've always said it's hyper-violet, right? It's ultraviolet. So that's just violet there. If we did continue to find new ranges, we would start going into shades of blue and then towards white, right? White hot heat, like danger, don't touch. But, and I realize we're mixing metaphors at that point because you're talking about stoplights here and you're talking about like colors of heat, right? Up in this range. But we got to go somewhere after we get past red, because what's more red than red? That said, green is kind of, we've been in some pretty good DCA territory here, in my opinion. We could go lower, of course. It's always possible. People talk about the doomsday scenarios of Bitcoin just absolutely imploding and going all the way down to 20K or even 15K. You've heard me talk about the cost to mine one full Bitcoin. We're going to validate that in just a few minutes here on this stream. We were the first to actually talk about this from the context of both gem hunting, paying attention to portfolios, as well as still acknowledging that proof of work mining is what powers all this stuff, and we may have an interest in mining at home. So that's important to me to go over what the bear costs are and why we might return to roughly 15K. Some have said 11K, 10K. I don't know. There's always a possibility, but I think that the bear cost for mining will validate why it's closer to 15K and why we could potentially expect for that to be a bottom that we find support at in some like really sad bearish future if we do turn more bearish in this market. But let me jump out of the way and just show the histogram right now is kind of showing a little bit of recovery right there. There had a growing divergence. See that red histogram had growing divergence and then narrowing divergence, moving towards convergence again on the MACD. But we got this big red candle day here, and yeah, we're kind of finding like right in between. Let's just slice through all these candles right about the midway point. We're looking at somewhere between like 35 and 38K is kind of where the market is comfortable. A lot of tops here of these candles at 38K, and we just haven't been able to catch enough relief to the upside or downside or not enough relief to the upside for me to say, yeah, we definitely have a relief rally that's going to push us all the way back up. And again, guys, this is me saying that as a layperson, a person who primarily just looks at fundamentals and looks at the news cycle, right? I'm much more comfortable looking at that. And then, of course, paying attention to what happens in the mining scene and some of the other big news articles. That makes more sense to me. It's what I understand. And I don't feel qualified to talk about really in-depth technical analysis. But just with those things in mind, yeah, I don't see a whole lot that's already happened within the history of the Bitcoin price here, the chart that makes me feel like, yeah, we definitely have to break out to the upside or we definitely have to fall farther to the downside. Other than that, we've been bouncing downward when we zoom out, and this could actually just be viewed as one giant bounce on our way, continuing that larger trend, right? Where we pretty much consistently kept falling down. The fact that it sort of laddered up like this, when you zoom out a little bit, that many days of sort of laddering up like that, or just kind of stepping up in almost perfectly measured steps up day over day, that almost looks like manipulation, right? When we zoom out a little bit, it looks kind of weird. It looks definitely out of place for the rest of the market. We just didn't see anything quite like that in this bull run. So this could have been some type of manipulation. And then, of course, the really big candle days, we know that there are real people in markets who do real things, make real decisions, and that they're oftentimes dictated by fear and greed. So they do really dumb things during those times. But this particular section right here just kind of looks weird to me. You guys tell me in the comment section. Does that look weird to you? Because I feel like that's kind of weird. It doesn't look organic. It doesn't look normal. And then, if anything, it's an interruption from the pattern here where we had these bounces downward, these dead cat bounces, right? Where we're like, oh no, Bitcoin really is just stumbling down. And then it did this weird recovery that looks just really highly structured, really highly potentially manipulated. The volume markers down here don't appear to mirror it in any significant way, but we're entering into a game that is being played by nation states now. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about as far as the news cycle goes. This is heavy duty stuff. If I'm being really transparent and really, really vulnerable, I took a few days off from publishing anything at all and going live at all because this stuff hits me really heavily. There's some other content creators in the scene who, they talk about this stuff very nonchalant and talk about it like, or whatever. They had the really deep feelings about things that are happening throughout the world because none of us wants to see suffering or loss of life. I think that's safe to say. Most of us, right, who are reasonable and feeling, you may know what I'm talking about. I'm seeing, again, a little bit more choppiness in my stream. Apologies for that. Things kind of like jumping in and out. I don't know what to tell you about that. I'm hardwired into my modem. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of reworking of my network. Gonna be flashing a couple of routers to DDWRT and then probably running a VPN full time on some of those because this is a little bit of an issue right there. Dan Anthony is asking, is anybody else locked up? I don't know what you mean. Like is the stream frozen? I'm not sure what you mean there. But looking back through my comments here, guys, see some Goblin Loser I don't know saying I'm doing the crazy in it, and I like that you keep giving me the healthy dose of reality, but I still have some irrational hope for Ethereum Classic. Hey, no, it's cool, man. That's great. And solo mining Ethereum Classic has worked out really well for a few people. I think Fox Protocol Mining on Twitter was doing that and won really big. Some great blocks there. But then Bitsby Trippin, I think, tried to solo mine on Ethereum Classic and just like came up empty-handed, even with a lot more hash rate. So you never can tell, right? Like, so good luck there. MC is saying, evening, gents. And AppleTech says it's not a bull run, it's a Russian buy-in while there's it's a Russian buy-in while there's still sanctions, or while there's sanctions. Hey, that's probably true. The relief rally very likely has to do with the rumors of the SWIFT system being disconnected for Russia. And I don't know what's going to happen as far as me even mentioning this stuff on stream. It could be really heavy duty for YouTube when they parse through this stream and they hear me talking about Russia and Ukraine. Whatever. Don't care. Yeah, just can't be bothered, guys. Just don't care. We got to talk about it. Some Goblin Luzardo says, I for sure do not want this conflict to keep going, nor do I want it to escalate into something even worse. Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's been a rough few nights for me and my wife because we've got kids that could get swept up in all this nonsense. And yeah, thankfully where we live, we're privileged in that, like, I'm not being handed an AK-47 and being told to go defend my home by the government. Like, not that I'd need them to hand me anything, but I'm not being told, like, you need to stay here. You're being conscripted, even at your age. You're being conscripted to go defend our country. If it ever did come to that here in the United States, it would happen to my kids. So I don't want that. I really don't. And it looks like we are back yet again. Yeah, stream has frozen quite a bit, guys. I'm just paying attention to what's happening here in OBS, and if I feel like every single time I mention something just the slightest bit controversial, things kind of slow down there a little bit. Weird. Some Goblin Losers saying, I think everyone's internet is doing some strangeness. I have had to put every PC in my home on hard line. Yeah, no, Gallo, it's not just you. And it's been problematic on several streams that I've attempted to do. I might have to start pre-recording stuff and then just letting it post and then jumping into comments live with you guys. I might have to do that a couple times this week. Plus, I'm looking at restructuring my content just a little bit, guys. As you know, I was the first to do a morning mining show and start live streaming that. Broke new ground in that to validate that was something that people needed. Validated that there was something that people needed and wanted and were looking for, and then of course many other mining content creators also jumped on board. That's okay, guys. Trends happen; they come and go, and that's just fine. But I'm looking at possibly having to restructure my content for my own schedule. But I still want to go live a couple times a week if that is at all possible. Let me jump out of the way though, guys, and show you this chart again. It does look weird. It does look manipulated, and I love what was mentioned in the comments about this potentially being not really a genuine relief rally, but it being the like a rally that came from run on banks and the SWIFT system overseas, where there are now currently distressed markets. I think that's a reasonable presumption. I think we could still just be bouncing down though, and this might be a new pattern here, or we could see that the trend, the downward trend here is just consistent, and we just can find a continuance of that trend over here, a continuation of that trend over here. It just resets itself and continues at about the same pace. That kind of makes sense to my rational mind, but you tell me in the comments, does that make sense to you? Do you think that could actually happen? Paul Doherty is saying much buffering. I think we're going to see this group withdraw, this group agree to stay. Alrighty, guys, so this is crazy. I'm winding up having to literally restart OBS every single time I see there's a disconnection issue here. I thought that I had already, you know what, now that I think about it, I literally already done split tunneling with my VPN for OBS, so I don't know what the heck is going on. It's got to be something about it. Maybe I shouldn't be split tunneling OBS. What do you guys think? Should I be running OBS through a VPN? I didn't think I'd have to do that. I thought for sure I'd be just fine without it. Yeah, it could be OBS for sure. Some Goblin Losers asking, could it be OBS? It could be. Maybe I just should stop split routing it and just go ahead and or split tunneling it and just go ahead and just route it right through whatever my current VPN tunnel is. Might be fine. We'll see. yeah, it could be something that is, yeah, my own network kind of being a little bit messed with. MC, I don't think it's just your connection. I think it is mine. That said, I have been on a couple of live streams over the last week. When I wasn't around the blockchain earlier in the week, I noticed there was some interference with their production routing software and various guests trying to plug in. We all had to ensure that we were not on Wi-Fi, and that's just never been a problem like that before. I think that we may be in the midst of serious problems globally with internet connections because of some scripts and some bots that are out there just trolling for suckers, right? Trying to test the electric fence, so to speak. This could be the new normal. Anyway, this is the chart. This is, I think, actually the new normal. The old normal is now the new normal again on this current bounce downward, and I think we are in the middle of a bounce. This red candle is likely to continue, so if you have to take profits, if you're okay to take profits, then maybe really strongly consider that. Don't watch things like bounce out of control or dip out of control. If you're already out of the money, obviously be careful. Don't lock in your losses by realizing profit at a loss, or by realizing some kind of a transaction when you are definitely at a loss. That could be catastrophic to your portfolio. Only you know, but just throwing that out there, guys. But let's take a look at the TX Street overview. Again, if you recall, this was the first mining show that brought to you regular intervals of TX Street, in addition to taking a look at portfolios and mining profitability. Okay, looks like we are back. I'm gonna double check my stuff right now. This is getting to be too much. I've had to restart my stream how many times while we've been live? So it is time for me to double check my settings in my VPN and maybe cut the split routing. And yeah, because I think that has been a problem. Alrighty. Oh, you know what else? I've been using a rotating IP on my VPN. I am willing to bet that the rotating IP of my VPN is causing problems. Let me shut that down. And then let's leave that alone for now. And then we'll take a look to see if it gets choppy again. If it does get choppy again, then I think it may be the question of us doing the split routing. So, gonna leave that alone for right now. Maybe come back to it in a minute. Apologies for the choppiness of the stream, though, guys. You've been such champs, being awesome about this, being communicative, being supportive. Thank you. Let's see. Paul Doherty asks, what channel is Around the Blockchain on? I watch when I see community posts, but never remember to sub. It's on BitBoy Crypto. And the BitBoy Crypto team, it's funny. You'll get people who accuse them of all kinds of mean, nasty things and try to dig up dirt on them and stuff. And you know what? I've come to know these people very personally, actually. A lot of the team over at BitBoy Crypto. And I really don't have... Chris Lawrence says, gotta love technology, lol. You outwitted yourself with an extra layer of security. Looks better already. Yeah, there you go. Rotating IPs for the lose. I got a just plain old boring vanilla VPN instead. But as long as we're not breaking down here, I thought the split tunneling would be good. Apparently it is. And the rotating IPs have interfered with the split tunnel. Weird. So glad that we've got less choppiness now. Thanks for the feedback there. But yeah, guys, BitBoy Crypto, it's funny. I'm not going to go shield their account or whatever because I don't agree with their team on a lot of aspects of cryptocurrency. And that's okay. That's good. It's healthy to disagree. And the way that you overcome conflicting opinions and speech that you don't agree with is to speak more with those people, right? You overcome bad speech with more speech, not by shutting. And it looks like we should be back. I'm seeing from OBS side that things are working a little bit better. And it looks like also, what do we got here? So I'm looking through, yeah, I might have to stop my split tunneling as well. I don't know why that would be a problem. Why do you think it would be a problem to split tunnel? So go ahead and pull that. And in fact, I think I've got some other things that are currently set to split tunnel that just don't need to. So I'm going to go ahead and just kick all those off. And I think, yeah, right now, all right, fingers crossed. I guess whatever, pat your head and rub your tummy, whatever it takes to get this thing to stop happening, right? We'll clap like we're bringing Tinkerbell back to life. But yeah, I just cut the split tunnel on my VPN. we'll see if that helps out a bit. But yeah, jumping out of the way, this is TX Street right now. Just a reminder, guys, nothing against my my co-creators on YouTube, but this was the first mining content show that started to talk to you about TX Street while also showing you all of the markets and news. Just saying. I feel good about that. Current pending transactions, as you can see, I was always a backlog of about 75,000. We don't really care about that. We want to see, or the latest block. We want to see the median transfer fee. We also want to see the median contract fee. We can also take a look at the median gas price. That's what we're most interested in. So we're going to redo that. Nope, I don't want notifications from TX Street. Currently spending about $4.64 to send Ethereum and $36 to send any altcoins or any other ERC20 contracts or ER721 contracts for that matter. If they're more complex, then your ER721 contracts will be even more expensive because you're going to execute multiple contracts. Same with committing liquidity to any kind of a DEX or AMM and any other kinds of more complex financial instruments such as beginning or ending stakes on certain staking contracts for specific ERC20s. Hex comes to mind, of course. Guys have been talking about them kind of intermittently between other stuff that we cover on the channel for a while now. But yeah, Ethereum not looking half bad. Let's go back to Bitcoin. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, we're going to keep on trying, guys. I'm not going to give up just because we have some technical difficulties here. I haven't had any other issues at all with my internet connection in any way that I can tell that should be meaningful here. MC is asking, are you mining at the same time too? LOL. Yeah, well, I mean, normally a little segmented, but yeah, I don't think I have any problems there. Gosh darn it. This is just annoying that I've tried to undo a bunch of stuff that I think could be problems. Yeah, it could be problematic and just annoying. Just really annoying. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna keep on trying to fix this though as we go. So, Apple Tech, disable that site. I gotta tell you, man, smart people don't look at those sites. Certainly not on work devices, but whatever. You do you. Alrighty, sorry again, guys, for these interruptions. How incredibly frustrating it must be. Apologies, guys, from on your end. I'm sorry for that. It's got to be really uncomfortable to watch. So pending transactions, we got a bunch of them on the Bitcoin side as well. Current price is 3 sats per VByte. Looks like we're currently spending about how much in US dollars? 27 cents. Good time to continue to mix those Bitcoins if you need to, if they're going into cold storage, as your dollar cost averaging into that range that I've mentioned. If that works for you. Because it works for me, certainly. I'm pretty comfortable with it. But let's take a look at the news cycle. This is what really affects, I think, the Fear and Greed Index is the news. I don't think it's quite so much about the transaction fees or the transaction speed or throughput. I think it has a lot more to do with international news, especially at a time like right now. We're seeing big things happen, and they're going to affect these markets. So first news item is that on Binance donated $10 million to Ukraine and launched an emergency relief fund. This is breaking. I don't know if you guys were aware of this, but CZ Binance, never one to let a good crisis go to waste, says we're donating $10 million to help the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine. And Binance BCF launched the Crypto First crowdfunding Ukraine Emergency Relief Fund. Our focus is providing on-the-ground support. We just care about the people. And that's a phenomenal message. It's really important to be able to show solidarity for people who. And I think we should be back. Just writing a comment right now that I just realized also I've also added a new DMZ device on the network, which it was intended to be a VPN router. Oh my gosh, guys, things are clearly pretty messed up, but I'm going to do it the best I can right now to round things up so we can finish up the stream, and then I'll go think about all the choices that brought me to this point. But I'm going to do that after we get through some of these news articles. I think what's interesting about this, it's really good that Binance is doing this because clearly they're showing that they have a heart. However, we would expect them to do so when there's a major disaster that they can capitalize on anyway, even if they didn't possess good hearts. So take it with a grain of salt. This is a company that has come under fire for not working when it's supposed to. It's a company that has, I mean, all centralized exchanges have come under fire because they wind up preventing people from being able to hold their own Bitcoin in a sovereign way. So, consider the source. That's all I'm saying. It's not the same as a group of people coming together to help other folks hold their own cryptocurrencies. That said, there's also a push, both in Ukraine and the US, to try to track the crypto wallet addresses of Russian politicians. Now, I'm not going to get all tinfoil hat on you guys. I'm not going to try to get political on this. But what I am going to say is I do feel like the problem with the news media today, especially the mainstream news media, is that if we fail to consume news, we're uninformed. But if we do consume the news the way they want us to consume it, we wind up being misinformed. And that bothers me. I don't know that I've gotten a very clear picture in my mind as to exactly what's happening or exactly the reasons or the antecedent events. This is the important thing, the context, right? So it's not just that things are happening right now like, hey, this person really did that? Well, yeah, maybe, but what happened 3 months ago? What happened 2 years ago or 5 years ago? For example, why was a member of our current POTUS's family living in Ukraine and being paid $50,000 a month to be there? And why have some of the sites, the blast sites from the invading Russian forces, been convenient? Looks like we should be back again, guys. It's very clear that there is some kind of like a rotating issue here, a rotating problem here. I don't know if it's that I have a different router on the network and it's trying to lease a new IP address to my device right now and freaking out and failing. I could be having a little bit of a problem on my own network right now because of my own problems, right? My own lack of being a network engineer. I talk about this stuff because I've had to do some of this crap before out of necessity, but I really hate it. I really, really hate it. Anyway, just to say, sorry guys, I hate to drag you through this. Let me see if I can get, yeah. Let me tell you how I really feel about being forced to do network engineering at home and being forced to do like IT management at home all the time. It's one of those things where like, yeah, we do it because it's fun, but we also never take into account the opportunity cost. How much does your hour cost you when you spend 15 of them at home working on projects? Because I know what mine costs when I don't bill those hours for clients, and it's got me totally rethinking my life choices. Like, just again, to use that phrase, sometimes I just don't understand why I choose the things I choose. CryptoStick says, all good, my man, great work, appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know what hunter, what cazador is actually good at, if anything. But guys, taking a look at some of the news cycle, just really briefly, I want to get through this last couple of items. I think it's kind of interesting that there's consolidation of effort here, both the Ukraine government and the Biden administration. It's important for us also to just call that what it is. It's the administration. It's not the big guy himself, Jack, licks ice cream cone. We don't actually know what he does all day or if he's even really ambulatory or fully possessed of all of his mental faculties. And that bothers me. To just know that we don't know what that guy's actually capable of anymore. So his administration, however, is joining on that same bandwagon of tracking Russian Bitcoin and crypto wallets. Again, I'm not going to get tinfoil hat. I'm not going to get political here. But I do think it's strange that we have that consolidation of effort in that direction. And welcome back, guys. These interruptions are just a little bit too regular. It tells me that there is some device on my network that is trying to lease IP addresses, and that my current laptop is, it's a game of musical chairs. I keep missing one every whatever this interval is, whether it's a couple minutes or something. So, yes. Anyway. Yeah, I've got a little bit of an issue, guys, with how lopsided the narrative is right now, where we're being told, like, we got to track cryptocurrency because look at criminals, look at bad people throughout the world. What could be more criminal in terms of a desperate need to track cryptocurrency addresses? What could be more criminal than terrorist actions? Right? That could be about as criminal as it gets in most of our minds. I'm not going to get political or tinfoil hat, but I am just going to say I wish I knew more about what the other side is doing. I wish I knew more about what the other hand is doing in these governments that we're supporting right now here in the U.S. and Ukraine. because I just feel like I don't know all that much. I know that I don't know all that much about these places. And as much as I don't want to see loss of life and I don't want to see people hurt or harmed in any way, I also don't want to underestimate just how nefarious and how underhanded some other governments are in creating false flag events or in arranging a sequence of events that helps them look virtuous while doing evil things, right? So, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that, guys. And I think that trying to de-anonymize cryptocurrency networks is an evil thing. I really do. I think it actually is. And coming up with any excuse to do so, to get people to like volunteer to do so, I think is a problem. I really do. So, yeah, a little bit of dissent from Uncle Seth there, guys. I'm going to try to wrap things up tidily before we go. Andrew says, reboot all the things. Lol, you're right. From the router or from the modem, reboot all the things in sequence so that you actually get DHCP working correctly. Guys, this ain't my first rodeo. It's just annoying that it's happening right now. Don't want to stop the stream to go do that. I could and then come back to you, but I think what I'd rather do is just wrap it up with. Guys, I see that we're back. I'm just going to wrap it up. This is getting really frustrating for you, I'm sure. I'm sure it's frustrating to watch while this is stuttering so much. Maybe I'll go live again later on today. Maybe not. But you guys just tell me. That's a central question for today. We're not going to go over markets. I might pre-record something later on. But central question for today, are you satisfied with the official narrative right now? I feel like I don't know enough. Just going to leave it at that. And the big red flag for me is that 2 out of 3 of the big articles that caught my attention today were about de-anonymizing crypto networks. Don't fall for it. Don't believe the hype. Somebody somewhere in this narrative is trying to get us to surrender our privacy and surrender our crypto privileges, our anonymity, and our security. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. Stay strong. Let's dig deeper. Prayers to the people of Ukraine. Prayers to the people of Russia. I do not want to see loss of life. I do not want to see things escalate. I do not want to see us move towards global conflict. But I also don't want to see us lose our rights, and have any of this stuff used as a pretense to get us to surrender our rights and our privacy. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. To the end of this video. It's going to be a bit shorter. Love you, face. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. Remember to check out mineyourbiz, where you can sign up for Mine Your Biz Insiders, our occasional newsletter where we don't spam you. We do send out occasional important information, including flash sales and important deals on privacy-preserving technology. This is one of the ways that we can talk to you uncensored and without the oversight of third-party media platforms. You can also check out the Mind Your Biz phone as well as merch, or sign up to become an affiliate for either one. Anything sold directly on the mineyour.biz website, you can earn a percentage of. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz.